The law has collapsed. Gun smoke hangs in the air. The United States has gone back to the Wild West. No police, no internet, no government strong enough to hold the chaos. You walk outside and the silence feels louder than a gunshot. You know instantly the old rules are gone and the new ones are written in blood. Imagine a country of neon cities suddenly stripped bare. Skyscrapers still stand, but their glass reflects horse hooves instead of sirens. You hear the creak of saloon doors in what used to be Starbucks. The air smells of sweat, dust, and cheap whiskey. The clatter of revolvers replaces the hum of traffic lights. Your phone is a dead brick in your pocket. In this world, you either carry iron at your hip or you end up a name carved on a wooden cross. What would you do now? Every street is a frontier. Every town is a stake of survival. The Wild West is not just an aesthetic anymore. It is the reality. Families huddled together in dim candlelight, guarding their homes with rifles. A mother tells her son not to cry too loudly because sound carries, and sound means danger. You can feel the shift in your bones. You are no longer a citizen. You are a settler. The frontier has come to your doorstep. But who holds power here? In the Wild West, power was never about laws. It was about who had the fastest draw and the coldest nerves. Imagine Wall Street brokers turned into cattle rustlers. Imagine billionaires riding horses through ruined highways, protected by gangs of gunmen. A single sheriff, elected by nothing more than fear, could decide life and death with one pull of the trigger. You might think democracy is eternal. Here, democracy lies bleeding in the dust. And then there is money. Paper bills collapse without banks. Credit cards are useless. Gold, silver, bullets, and whiskey become the new currency. Do you want medicine for your child? Pay with a bottle of bourbon. You want to ride the train, if trains even run, pay with silver coins that jingled in 1880. Suddenly, history is not behind you, it is around you, choking you, demanding you learn it fast. Travel is a gamble. Highways are patrolled by gangs on motorcycles, their engines roaring like a new breed of outlaw. Others ride on horseback, taking back old trails through forests and plains. The landscape looks familiar, but it feels older, harsher. The wind carries dust that stings your eyes. The sun burns skin without mercy. You ride for hours, never knowing if the next bend holds water, a trading post, or an ambush. How far would you go to survive? Cities splinter into territories. A block becomes a town. A neighborhood becomes a kingdom. Gangs rename streets, painting crude signs to mark their turf. Chicago feels like Dodge City reborn, where a single wrong step means a bullet. Los Angeles looks like a sprawl of campfires and makeshift saloons. New York turns into a maze of walled-off boroughs, each ruled by warlords who dress like sheriffs but act like tyrants. The skyline glitters, but the streets crawl with fear. And yet, humans adapt. People form possessions, alliances, fragile towns bound by trust and desperation. A church bell rings, not for prayer, but to warn of raiders. Children learn to ride before they learn to read. Schools become forts, teachers carrying rifles as much as chalk. You hear laughter sometimes, children playing stickball on dusty streets, their joy piercing the gloom. Even here, in the ashes of modern America, life insists on itself. But the question is, at what cost? The justice system is a gun barrel. If your neighbor steals your cattle, you can duel at dawn. If a stranger cheats you in trade, you settle it with fists in the dirt. Some say this is freedom, pure and raw. Others say it is a nightmare where the strong feast on the weak. Which side would you fall on? Would you defend the fragile idea of community or seize power with both hands?
Technology does not vanish, but it bends to old shapes. A drone becomes a scout hawk for a gang. A solar panel powers a saloon, glowing dimly against the night. A motorcycle is tied up next to a horse, both treated as equal tools. The fusion of past and present makes the world surreal. You see a cowboy with a revolver in one hand and a night vision scope in the other. It feels unreal, but it is real. It is survival.
Out on the plains, a new frontier stretches wide. The Midwest returns to the open range. Cattle herds moving again. Rustlers prowling at their heels. You hear coyotes cry under the moon, and it reminds you how small you are. The Wild West was always about space, endless and brutal, where one wrong choice left you dead in the dust. That space is back, and it swallows the unprepared. Do you ride into it, or do you stay in the shadows of broken cities? Conflict brews. Without a central government, states fracture. Texas declares itself a republic again, patrolled by militias in cowboy hats and body armor. California turns into a gold rush reborn, but this time the rush is for control of water. The Rocky Mountains become outlaw strongholds, where gangs vanish into caves and forests. The map of America redraws itself with fire and fear. You are caught in the middle of it. Where do you belong? The cycle of violence grows. Every town has its legends. A gunslinger who never missed. A bandit queen who ruled the desert highways. A preacher with a Bible in one hand and a shotgun in the other. People whisper their names around campfires, half in awe, half in dread. Heroes and villains blur. Justice feels like a story told to children. You ask yourself, do you wait for a hero, or do you become one?
3 times you hear the same words whispered in the wind. The old rules are gone. They echo through saloons, through dusty streets, through silent plains. The old rules are gone. You cannot unhear them. You cannot escape them. Every choice you make now decides not just your life, but the kind of world that rises from these ashes.
Yet within the violence, something unexpected stirs. Communities rebuild towns with rough walls, wooden signs, and a fragile sense of order. A blacksmith's hammer rings, and people cheer because tools mean hope. A writer arrives with news from 3 towns over, and suddenly connection feels priceless. The Wild West is brutal, but it also holds the seed of beginnings. Maybe this collapse is not only an ending, maybe it is a reset. Still, shadows remain. The outlaw does not vanish. The gunslinger never rests. The duel at dawn is not a story, it is tomorrow. And you, standing there with dust on your boots and fear in your chest, must choose. Do you carve a home, or do you draw your weapon? Do you trust the stranger offering a hand, or do you suspect a knife hidden behind it? Survival here is never simple. Night falls. The campfire flickers. Coyotes cry louder. You stare into the flames, and for a moment you wonder if this is progress or ruin. Maybe both. The United States, once the land of skyscrapers and satellites, now breathes like an old frontier town. Horses neigh in the distance. A harmonica plays. You hear laughter, then a gunshot. The sound of the Wild West, the sound of America, reborn in dust and blood. The fire crackles. The stars shine sharp in the sky. You realize the old world is never coming back. The frontier is forever now. And the unforgettable truth is this: the Wild West was never history. It was always waiting.